Blair Lane, San Diego, California. This is the Muir questionnaire. Question number 1. Looking back, do you think that you were properly prepared for this trip? Short answer, no. If you'd like an elaborated version, well, we would need to further define preparation. Question number 2. What all did you do to prepare? Myself personally, I followed a disciplined program of fitness daily that included breath work as well as resistance training. I practiced long bouts of TRE. I think most people refer to it as intermittent fasting. I was practicing bouts both low and high, you know, on the ranges of 16 to 72 hours before going on this trip. I did that both in high and low emotional and physical stress states. I did that as best as possible through my simulation of training that I had available to me here in San Diego. So aside from that, meditation was something that I had been practicing in yoga prior to this trip, including the breath work. So that was something that I was definitely that I had integrated and implemented while I was out there on the trail. So that was kind of cool to be able to see the true power that those tools had for me personally. Next question. What was the item you thought you would need the most? So that's a good question. The one item that I thought that I would need the most, I think, would be my big body DSLR camera. So day one, yeah, camera got wet. I did not take one single photo with my camera that weighed over 4.5 pounds with battery and lens included. So yeah, did not, will not for the future if we ever go on another one of these trips. No, won't bring a big body DSLR camera. My handy dandy cell phone, whatever I have at the time, will most likely be the viable option. So yeah, next question. How much would you say your bag weighed before the trip? I know how much my bag weighed before the trip because I weighed it, and it was over 50 pounds. I think precisely 52, 51-ish, we'll say. That was with 10 days of food, gear, water, and poles. So that's everything. Next question. What did you know about the trail? What did I know about the trail? Leading up, I knew it was a 211 to 222 mile trail that was through the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains, which is in California, for those that don't know. I had seen only pictures online, did some research, tried to watch some YouTube clips, but at the, you know, every time while I found myself doing that, I was like, why I'm building up an expectation. I'm building up an expectation by doing that. Just wait on it. Just wait on it. Continue to prepare yourself. Continue your training, my son. Next question. Tell me a bit about the first half of your trip in about a minute. First half of the trip. Where do we begin? How we got to the trail was a story in itself. We met a nice girl named Jezra. Jezra could be. We need to go find Jezra for this. Maybe she could give you a better recall of what transpired and how we made it from Bishop to the trailhead at Cottonwood Pass. Where is Jezra now? We don't know. Anyways, Jezra, nice young lady we met. We hitchhiked. She took us to the top of the trail. Day one, start of the trail, 45 minutes in, Mother Nature hit us abruptly with a left hook to the kidney, and then a swift right jab to the jaw. So rain, a little bit of hail, mudslides, inclement temperatures as we were ascending upwards of what I think close to 11,000 feet on our first day of hiking with 50 pounds on our back. What did I know about the trail? Not enough. Not enough. But what I found was something greater. First half of the trip, let's see, day one, night one, we had a tent rip. So with the one tent ripping, we had two guys in one tent, one guy in a single tent, and it was cold. It was cold night one. But my mind was colder. My mind was colder. Night two, we did not move. Day two, we actually stayed at the base, at base camp, day two, just to prepare ourselves for continuing this commitment that we embarked on together. So day two was a travel day. Really got familiar with our gear, with our equipment, and I think that really was a necessary action item for us. For me personally, I needed to figure what the hell was in my bag. What is all this shit do? So night two, no different. Cold. Cold. Well, I was ready to move. Day three, morning three, we took Cottonwood Pass, and yeah, it was great, man. We put some miles on, found camp. For night three, it was a nice setup. No injuries had occurred at this point. Lucky to have made it 3 days in, aside from a cut on the wrist. Day two, while bathing in the glacier water. That was all for me. First half of the trip was a lot of excitement. Day four, I think Jason sprained his ankle. So pace, we had to slow down a little bit. We had whistles though. The whistles were a great idea. We had a system developed, 1 whistle, 2 whistle, 3 whistle, that kept us all within line of communication, even if we were not visually in line with one another. Next question. Tell me about the hostel and the short break from the trail for 1 to 2 minutes. The hostel in Bishop. Those that don't know what a hostel is, I'll give you a little context. A hostel is a building that is fitted like a home for the Brady Bunch plus. So for those that don't know about the Brady Bunch, it's a household with 6 or more and a couple dogs. So a building, more beds than rooms. Just keep it simple. Relatively inexpensive, only about 25, 35 a night. I don't know what that equates to in your currency, but yeah, it was accommodating. It was definitely accommodating for the time being. The hostel in Bishop was really nice. I would recommend it for those travelers passing through. It was cool. It was a unique experience. I met some really interesting folks at the hostel. I think that was one of the coolest takeaways for me, was the interesting people that I was able to come across and just truly, literally and figuratively cross paths with on this trail. Some people were friendly and inviting, others were less inclined to make any contact. So doing our part to stay safe, doing our part to stay on trail. That was key. The hostel, though, I mean, it had a great setup. Shared living spaces, pretty much shared everything. They had clothes, they had cans of gas, chapstick, anything you needed they had at this hostel. The hostel was definitely a place. I don't know if I'll go back just to that one, but I'll definitely stay at a hostel again at some point in this experience. Another thing I did not mention about the hostel was we first arrived, when we came back around to the hostel on day 10. We left the trail on day 10. We went back to the hostel to resupply, hiked down Kearsarge Pass. At that point, day 10, I was physically, cognitively, I had hit my threshold. I hit my threshold. I was repeating, thank you body, thank you flesh, thank you body, thank you flesh, thank you spirit, thank you flesh. It was a place that I hadn't visited in some time. Dehydrated. My body was, I could feel it almost evaporating with each step. In reality, it was just an imbalance of perspective. Just a little imbalance of perspective. Next question, tell me about the end of the trip in about a minute. Well, the end of the trip in Yosemite, wow, through the Lost Valley. Okay, this was pretty fucking cool. So we ended up renting a vehicle in Bishop and driving up to Yosemite to finish out the trail. I had never been to Yosemite, and hands down, it was, again, an unforgettable experience. Something that I truly felt and that resonated with me, my childlike sense of wonder and curiosity, my adult-like vigor and stamina. Those things were unparalleled when it came to the stars at night in the Lost Valley. We caught trout, we ate snake, we made fire. Pretty cool end to what I will forever remember as a 15-day experience of uncompromising, unparalleled will, moxie, and love. What did you want to get from this trip? What did I want to get from this trip? I really wanted to gain just a true sense of solitude. I wanted to be able to, I don't know, for those who've seen the movie Jumper, I wanted to be able to almost take myself in my mind's eye back to that place of tranquility and serenity that I felt in the mountains, and be able to tap into that in my everyday life. That's what I wanted to take away from this trip. What was the most difficult part for you? The most difficult part for me personally was patience in the morning, getting up, getting going, really slowing down. I noticed that in my day-to-day hustle and bustle, it is exactly that, hustle and bustle, a lot of times from the get-go, whereas when we were in the mountains, less resources, more creativity and use for creative imagination, and your dexterous extremities are needed. So that involves time, right? Patience, an element of fortitude that had not yet been established or before like it is now. So I'm grateful for that. That was a tough lesson that I learned, but I'm truly grateful. The easiest part for me, myself, the easiest part of the trip, it's a tough question because there was nothing easy about the trip. Nobody out, you don't take a trip like that to for the easy. It's not the easy road. It's literally and figuratively the road less traveled. We took 10 days worth of food and supplies. We were not well equipped with a lot of these skills. I was not equipped with a lot of the skills as far as building shelter, starting fire, and catching fish, gutting fish, cleaning game. Those were all things that I learned on the trail. So that was an added takeaway, that something I didn't expect to take away from the trip, but found to be quintessential in survival out there on the trail. So grateful. The most fun part for me was definitely, man, this is tough. I felt like the whole thing was fun. I'm trying to think the most fun part for me personally. Maybe we all rode bikes through this town, through the town of Bishop. This town is maybe 4 miles long. I'm not quite sure, but within this town there were parks for recreation, skate parks for extreme sports, life. You know, it was a cool place, man. It was a cool place. That was one of the most fun parts for me, aside from hanging out at the top of Mount Whitney and giving a little gratitude and appreciation for all the hard work that we had gone through and persevered through to make it to the top safely. That was pretty cool. That was fun for me as well. Would you do it again? Short answer, abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes, I would. I do it a little bit differently, but yes, I'd do it again. And last but not least, what would you advise to future travelers? What would I advise to future travelers? It's a performance thing. So I think of performance as a whole, as a pie. There are 3 main slices. You have cognitive, you have physical, and you have skill. Skill, my friends, serves. Skill serves in every facet, in every fabric of this experience. Develop skills. Cognitively, this piece between these 2 guys, keep it sharp as a fucking tack. Keep it sharp. Again, perspective. Bring perspective with you. If you go with no perspective, the experience is going to be unique. It's going to be different. I went into this experience with perspective. I gained enlightenment. I gained solitude. I gained a sense of freedom that I think very few that are not willing to take a risk or to take a chance or to make a bet on themselves is missing out. But skills, cognitively and physically. Physically, that should be I shouldn't have to talk to you guys about that. I shouldn't have to, hammer this one home. Physically, there's a level of preparedness that only one truly knows through the work that they have put in. So for me, that's where my confidence came from in accepting this challenge prior to leaving for the trip. Being the quote-unquote hardest worker in the room is, a misnomer in my reality. It's an understanding. That's all it is. But to my final point, don't pack a fucking heavy bag, number one. Invest in high quality, ultra lightweight gear. And that's from tent to tactical tools. Prep and filter your water the night before, the morning of. Hydrate, super hydrate the morning of while you're packing. That was something that I was intentional about every single day on the trip. And bring whistles. The whistles were fundamental. They were foundational. Bring whistles. And trust. I think trust was a big thing for me. Trust the trail. Trust your own gut. Trust your own intuition. Trust your senses. Really tap in to the environment with all of your percepts, as many as you can, and you're gonna be okay. Food is not the first thing you want to worry about. Oh. Keeping your feet dry, staying dry, just staying dry. Number one, that's a key component. Hydration, yes, I would say, keep chapstick. More importantly, over hydration. If not, you can say those two are synonymous, or vertical parallels for now. And yeah, you definitely want to take it seriously, though. Take it seriously, but have fun with it. It's one of these. It's a juggling act, but that's something, again, I wasn't expecting to be able to take away and know how to do when I left the trail. But yeah, we juggle. Find yourself some shelter. Find yourself some clean water, or a water source. Stay dry. And take care of this. Take care of this. And if you need to take a zero, take a zero. Take a zero. Rest. Put your feet up. Get your mind right. Visualize. See yourself succeeding. See the succession. See the steps. See the step before the step. See the next step. Visualize yourself breathing. Put yourself in the moment. Put yourself in the place. Visualize the set and setting with in your mind's eye, with your mind's eye. Detail down to the fabric. And then execute. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm gonna keep it, simplicity was key out there. The trout with a little bit of sea salt and coconut oil was the most morale boosting dish that I've probably had in the last few years. So you guys want to up your level of appreciation and gratitude for what we have and take for granted every day, with the convenience and luxury of automation and elimination and liberation. Those things are phenomenal, but there ain't no weights in the wild. That's all I got for y'all today. Jason, I hope you can chop this up, do what you can do with it. It's 31 minutes, so have some fun. See y'all on the other side. Peace.